Right. So again, this is Professor Praveen Baskar. I'm teaching managing sustainability. So today we are going to cover managing metrics. So we have covered so far. Let's see what we all covered so far. So anybody interested to contact me, this is my LinkedIn address. So let's go to what we have covered so far. What happened? How I can't expand it. I can't even see my profile. Yeah, go ahead.
This I saw your profile because I already connected. So this your project 1.7 trillion tree. This is from any NGO or how it is?
No,
Your
it is from
project
my
about the
company. So basically, NGO cannot do all these projects, right? Where will they get the money from? Like 1.7 trillion tree will require $20 trillion. Where will they get the money from?
Right.
So only a highly profitable business like us can make the money from it. So basically, people think that this can be done by NGOs and other. No, it's not. It's basically beyond the scope of any government, because government are itself in bankrupt, right? They don't have money to feed the population. Where will they find extra money to for non-essential stuff, right? Yeah, this is going to impact. Okay, yeah, now we can see more. I don't know why. Okay, so initially default, they change the layout, right? So we have covered so far corporate sustainability strategy, corporate sustainability management system, supply chain management. We talked about, like, following sustainability actually, and this is what I'm talking about, right? One point. So it need not be that sustainability is not about just sustainability about just environment. It's about sustainability, about governance, about the financial statement. Because if you're making a loss, right, you cannot continue forever, right? Maybe you can fool somebody for a while, like you could be I'm not going to name anybody, a motto, and making loss and go to another investor and keep taking money, but that's not sustainable, right? Maybe after 5 years then you will run out of investors to take money. So that's what it's very important, that you make profit. In fact, I believe that you should start making profit from 100 units itself. If not one unit, I can know that it is probably you are researching, right? And you should also shorten the cycle of your research. Like, it shouldn't be like years and years of doing research work with no. Especially, I look the business community as a business community, right? They are not here to do research. Are being organized by research institute, so they should do. If you make a lot of money, maybe you could have a research institute separately. But as an engineer, like, especially I'm an engineer, we are here to make money, right? Or make product in a month, right? We are not here to research. So basically, we do look into. There are already millions of research study done, right? So we could actually tap onto it, and the goal of the engineering is to understand how do we use those knowledge which is already there to make sustainable, like, and what sustainability means: less emission, less input cost, and more output, better quality, less waste. So it's all about, it's the entire thing we talked about, like supply management, how the entire cycle manage, how to make a strategy. So today we are going to look into metrics. Like, we can talk about, like, hey, we can make 10 times more profit, 1000% more profit, 1000% more this, we can reduce emission. But how do you prove that you're making that, right? That is because accounting and people want to see how, right? So that's what we are going to talk about today. Let's go dive deep into the topic. So basically, we talked about investment, right? So, like, many people talk about investment, what is. So as you said, like, everybody has a different notion of sustainability, right? And there are many things to do. It's not one area, and as I said, you don't have to tackle everything at day one. You could tackle just one thing, like air pollution. So let's look into that. Commitment and investment. So these are basically difference between how industry sees itself. Like, I want to air pollution control is an environmental issue, and there is something is a social issue. We haven't talked about a profit issue. We already talked about profit issue, and I think most of the corporate knows that profit is a way to go. And NGOs are good. I will not call NGOs, but NGOs have been a front to make. Basically, it's basically the ROI is very bad on NGO. Like, so if a typical NGO received 100 rupees in investment from a public, you can say public is investing it, right? The public, it's not even getting back 10%. So basically, the ROI of in charity, or so basically, if we want to help somebody directly. That's my understanding, is like that's most sustainable, and you should only help them once in a while, right? You should not make that a habit. Then you need to understand, how do we do something different so that that I don't have to help that person again and again and again, right? That is again not sustainability, right? What is wrong in that? So let's look into air pollution mitigation. Not many people are aligned, because many companies are still causing a lot of pollution, and not only air pollution, even water pollution. Resource and biodiversity conservation, like literally no organization. They are a little bit starting away. Carbon emission reduction, yes, they are doing something now, and many companies are started using solar panel. Water management, especially a company which uses a lot of water, like drink company, leather company, they have become conservative of water. And this is more out because of the rise in cost of water, because water has become a precious resource, and price of water is rising drastically. In fact, we sell water at 200 rupees per liter. Like, good water is rare commodity now. Like, it's almost not available in the world right now, because all the water which is coming, so drinking water, all the drinking water is coming to public is actually coming from rivers, and the rivers is also the point where all the sewage also goes. So basically, all the water which is being given to general public for drinking is not fit for drinking any longer because of the pollution. But of course, waste and end life management, people are getting conservative about that. There are a lot of laws that about that. Worker welfare and employment, obviously, labor laws has become very strict these days. So this is one of the area which is there's a commitment, and they are actually doing that. Impact on communities, people are doing that. And then impact on communities also has a benefit that it helps people, it increases your market base, it makes people aware, it builds your brand, basically. So helping community is quite a bit, it's a basically a dual, it's a lot of benefit, direct benefit, you can say. Supplier diversity is also good, because it's again, you are not affected by one party. So fair trade and fair policy, like if your supplier is actually making you profit, you want the supplier to survive, right? So you want them to make some money so that they can continue to give you better service. No forced and slave labor. It's in the free world, this is pretty much been there now. In obviously 50% of the world is not still free, so we can't talk about those countries, but at least in the free world, this no forced labor and slave labor is almost gone. Child labor is also almost gone in the free world. So this is basically about like other part of the sustainability, right? So we have to now define, how do we define sustainability metrics? The organization or data indication for resource utilization, waste reduction, or pollutant discharge into environment. Like, it could be like resource utilization, it could be about waste reduction. Just a minute, okay? Right. And it could be also about material intensity, like how much, so for putting 1 kilo of output, how much input use, energy intensity, water consumption, toxic emission. So it is not about the entire organization, because your organization could make a lot of bananas. So it's about how much you do per banana, or you're negative per banana. So my obviously goal is it should be negative. Energy use should be negative, material use should be negative, so or at least zero. I mean, you're basically it's a fully sustainable system, fully cyclic system. There's no, yep. And again, this is a evolving area. Like there's no agri set of sustainable. Every government makes its own way of looking at, and every accounting firm does its own. So this is a pretty, it's evolving area, you can say that. So what aspect of sustainability should be? We already talked a little bit about it. Material intensity, like pounds of material wasted, not converted to desired product per unit output. Like wastage should include design for reuse. Like, if you are cutting something to make something, what can you do with the waste? Like, can you recycle it? Can you do something, build something else from it? Does the product have potential return for manufacturers? Okay, are the material being used renewable, mined, geographical? Energy intensity is BTUs per unit output. It is measured as net fuel energy consumed to provide heat and power requirement for the process. And apart from energy, in energy there is something like, are you using renewable energy or versus fossil fuel? Also about energy efficiency. So like, are you wasting energy? Like, is your water consumption is another thing we measure a lot. Expresses gallons of fresh water, excluding rainwater consumed per unit. So this is like basically excluding rainwater. So basically, you could harvest your own rainwater and reduce your water consumption. That's why I said you could become negative water users. You can actually start selling water. So this is basically how much you buy from the outside world. Like basically, you're using somebody else's resources. Of course, different countries have different regulations. Like, I think US is the only place where the water falling in your land doesn't belong to you. But I think most of the other free country water, if it falls on you, it belongs to you. So pretty much if it falls in your property, that water is your property. But in USA, I guess you have to take a license, even if you want to use water which falls on your land. Like, reuse of wastewater, desalination, improvement of water efficiency through improved transmission, reduce evaporation, toxic. So these are the other factors which can be used. Toxic emission, pound of toxic material emitted per process. And again, it's possible to do zero. Like, I don't understand why why government or public are still tolerating toxic chemicals being released to environment. But again, this is the reality of life. We cannot question it. But again, so at least we should aim to reduce it. As I said, it is better if you make it zero, because if you're in a time bomb, like, if you start killing people outside your jurisdiction because of toxic, sooner or later they will bite back. You may be able to get back because maybe the laws are relaxed, but as a sustainable organization, as a moral organization, you should not release toxic chemical outside like, you should just contain it. But again, we measure it. If you release it, then how much you release it. Pollutant emission are expressed per pound of pollution emitted per process per. Again, it's possible to do basically negative. You can actually like, if you plant trees, it actually absorbs the outside pollution. Like, you could have filters which not only filters but even outside. So you could be negative here as well. Greenhouse emission also should be reduced. Again, it is expressed as pounds per CO2 equivalent to CO2. It's a very valuable resource, so it could be actually captured and sold to farm companies. So CO2, in fact, there's a shortage of CO2 in the world right now. There's other pollutant like non-CO2 gases, other factors, issues, sustainability, different geographical, culture, production process, and other characteristics. So these are the aspects we should be measuring. Again, one thing is about measuring it, what's measured, but it's also about how do we measure it? Like, is it reliable way? Because different way could give us different way results. So that's another we need to be considered. Many measures are new and have unproven reliability and validity. Staff lack experience in collecting, reporting, and analyzing data. It is difficult to know which material measure is appropriate for particular sustainability. Cherry picking indicator. So many companies will just pick up which is better, showing them in a better. Like, they may have hundreds of metrics, but they will say, "Hey, let's use this guy." even though they may be polluting in some other way, but they will pick up the, hey, water pollution reduced from 80 to 20%. So they could cherry pick the indicators and only highlight those factors. And they're not telling a lie. They are telling correct, right? Here, we have reduced water usage by 20%, even if the energy consumption has increased or something like that. So that's what there's another problem with that, how organizations misuse this metrics for the benefit. Weighting indicators in overall scale can introduce bias. And again, sometimes you do a weighting, like you don't have exact, you actually estimate it. Quality factors may be more important than the factors that are subject to measurement. And of course, as I said, we can only, if it is not known, then it doesn't happen. Like it could be good, but if you can't measure it, it didn't happen, if it doesn't, so there should be ways to do it. Like if it is quality factors, you could say that, hey, see, my revenues are increasing. That could be a measuring factor as well for your management. Like, hey, because we did this kind of thing, even though we can't measure like employee satisfaction, but we can see the output, right? The output per employee has increased 20%, 30%, right? So there are other ways of indirect measurement which can help your sustainability goals. So what is the relationship of sustainability metrics to the organization performance measurement and management system? Then as the organization learns, these new indicators need to be developed, collected, analyzed, and reported separately from routine indicators. Once the metrics are established and reflected in organization standard operating procedure, they should integrate it into regular performance measurement system. A key indicator of success in this integration of the eventual invisibility of distinct sustainable metrics. So these are the things, what relationship we have to look for. Like these, what is the relation? What is important to measure? Why it is important to measure sustainability? Despite these problems, sustainable metrics are essential. We need to develop a way to operationally measure success in this, measure precision, defining goal and action. And again, another important, right? So basically, sustainability can help you increase revenue and profit. Like so, how much, right? You can continuously keep improving your revenue and profit, but there is a limit to it. Like, if you are, say, if you are using zero water, zero energy, there's a limit. So that's why it's important to know what is the future of your potential, like how much your company can grow. Like, is it like 10 times, is it 1,000 times? I'm talking about the same geographical area, like, And again, the reality of life is that management commit very less resources to achieve these goals right now. Because obviously, so it's basically they can achieve less, but they want more. And I think that's how we have to giving them more, and so that they allocate more resources so that we can do better results in future. The process of defining and improving awareness routine. Sometimes you don't know where to begin, but just start somewhere, right? You can start something somewhere and gradually improve. Measurement provides an indication of the management seriousness of the purpose in this area. Once initial systems are developed, they can be applied and refined. Benchmarking and learning new organization routines from other organizations in new management like areas like sustainability. Common set of indicators facilitate communication within and between organizations. Right. So there is some progress made towards global corporate reporting. Shared vision of 5 main voluntary reporting organizations: International Business Council, World Economic Forum, Stakeholder Capitalization Metrics, IFRS Foundation established International Sustainability Standard Board. EU Development finished its review on non-financial reporting directive, proposed corporate sustainability reporting directive, complement the European reporting regulation, EU taxonomy as well. So now Europe is even finding charging extra money for per 100 euro for per ton of CO2 release. So they are, and again, if you want to charge extra money, you need metrics to prove that, hey, this is how much we released, and this is how much we are paying. And they maybe audit on you as well. So if you lie on that audit, that accounting, that you auditors can come and say, hey, no, you're not producing 5, you're producing 10. And so not only now you're not paying the extra 5 as penalty, you maybe even charge penalty for wrong reporting. So there is also proposed corporate sustainability reporting directive, covers all ESG topics and double materiality, applies to wider pool of companies, all company listed and listed assurance requirements, shift to digital tagging of sustainable information. By 2024, companies will publish reporting in accordance with these standards. So there's a lot of framework available right now. GRI is the is used with quite wide in the industry, and it has pretty well documented as well. It's available all in the internet, so you can actually download what it's measure, how to measure, and quite a bit of documentation is there. In fact, it's a pretty big set of documentation. There's a set of standards used by companies to report topics that are material to the business, and again, they have different business line also, like which business you belong, you have your different ways of measuring that. Auditing is all stakeholder. Report focus on business impact on society. ESG focus is environmental, social, and governance. Scoring no, ESG no. SASB is there, industry-specific standard to help companies select topics that may impact their financial performance, audience and investors, how ESG issues impact the business, environmental, social, governance. CDP, disclosure of environmental information through questionnaire, ability to against peer and engage supply chain, all stakeholder, how business impact. SDG, this is UN one. No, Sustainable Development Goals. Yeah, broad goals that help track against global issues, good engaging with wide range of stakeholders, all stakeholders, business impact of society, environmental, social governance. TCFD, guidance for disclosing impact of climate-related risks on your business, investors, and financial stakeholders, how climate impacts the business. Environmental, commitment to 10 principles, and produce annual progress update, all stakeholders, how business impact on society. CDSF SB, framework to reporting environmental and natural capital information, closely aligned to TCFD. And again, you don't have to use any of this. You can actually pick and choose. You can what is good for your organization. So right, so you could use GRE, and if that doesn't meet something, you could look into other framework to find how to measure those other metrics if you want. So it's not necessary that you have to stick to one. Of course, it's important to stick to whatever your company, your country laws demand you. So it's like you can see, if you want to see where it lasts, flexible, perspective, broad, focused, right? So perspective of the framework, scope, social. So you get data, right? So basically you can see value of reporting foundation, Dow Jones Sustainability Index, CDP. So this is like in a graphical way, you can see which one you want. So basically, it's about bringing financial and non-financial information. Like you can say, we will give benefits, but okay, how do we bring financial and non-financial? Like equality, like it's non-financial, but how do we bring the benefit from that thing to financial? That is because okay, you can say less pollution. So how does less pollution increase your profit? How does it increase your revenue? So that are the factors. How does it impact finance, or does it not? So that's another thing. That's what you have to brainstorm, and how reducing pollution can actually increase your profit. That may be a challenging topic, but it's possible, right? Because if you are following sustainability, you should be able to increase your profit and revenue on a continuous basis. It's just that you may have to improve the process, may have to change your machinery, change the way you do businesses as well. But of course, reporting is the metrics which will give you what to improve first. So there's a financial gap and sustainability disclosure standards. There's some overlap there, and you can choose financial and non-financial. So let's talk more about GRI. GRI is independent international organization providing global common language for corporate transparency. We help business and other organizations understand, communicate the sustainability. This is straight from GRI. We deliver the GRI standard, the world most widely adopted sustainability report. This is freely provided as a public good. So this is from GRI itself. So GRI, it didn't come from, you can say it overnight. It has been a gradual improvement. So you can refer to this chart. So it was founded in 1997. You can see the history, but important thing is what we have now, and they are adding new things as we go along. It's not that they are like, they are still missing things which they identify and they are adding it. And of course, there's a continuous improvement as well. The GRI standard represents global best practices for reporting sustainable performance, enhancing the comparability and quality of information. Civil society, business enterprise, investment institution, labor organization, mediating institution. We operate through a robust multi-stakeholder approach, ensuring participation and expertise of diverse stakeholders in the development of GRI standards. So this is about like who are using GRI standard. Like, okay, this is one way, like, hey, GRI saying that, hey, I'm a good and we are giving quite a bit of sustainability reporting standards and metrics, how to do it and what not to do. So basically, this is a report by KPMG, which is another audit firm. The use of sustainability reporting guidelines and standards is increasing widespread in 2020. A significant report majority of companies in both N100 77% and G2 84% use some kind of guidance framework to support the sustainable reporting. So now most of the company by 2020 was using it. GRI remains the most commonly used reporting standards of framework, used by around 2/3 of the N100 reporters and around 3/4 of the G250 reporters. The application GRI standard introduced at the end of 2000 has significantly increased compared to with. So these are like, most of the companies are now using GRI. Like, you can say not all of them, but significant, like 2/3 to 75%. So what is GRI standard, right? So there are three universal standards in GRI. One is foundation, GRI, they call it GRI 101, general disclosure, GRI 102, management approach, GRI 103. They are topic specific, like economic, environmental, social. They all have a number so that easy identification. So you can download for free in 12 languages. So you can actually download the standards for you so that you don't have to come up with these standards, right? Which is again. So these are the topic, like, reporting standards. So I'm not going to go through the list. So reporting principle, stakeholder inclusiveness. So who is the stakeholder? Materiality, sustainability, context, completeness, quality, accuracy, balance, clarity, comparability, reliability, and timeliness. So not only we have to measure something, we have to measure it with quality and confidence. And with non-biased approach, like it shouldn't be that, hey, we are going to hide something, which is a typical organization profit, hide report, like, they found something, hey, let's hide that and only report what is good for us. And again, you may not report it, that's fine. You may fix the problem and later report it. So reporting is still good, even if it comes bad. Yes, organizations can choose not to report it, but they should at least try to fix it. What are the benefits of GRI standard? Policy integration and referencing, flexible and future-proof structure, common language, credibility. So if you use GRI, then everybody understands what you are talking about, right? You are talking apple to apple, and other kind, and even ask like, hey, what is the standard of these guys? Even if you try to hide it, they can still question, why didn't you report this one? And as I said, so GRI is evolving thing. They are been continuously evolving things, like, and they're adding new stuff. So GRI by itself is also looking into other, there are, like I said, like there are other standards as well, right? But GRI by itself is also looking into other standards and improving its own standards so that it becomes an all-inclusive standard, right? You don't organization, you don't have to do that. Like GRI is doing that for you. So GRI is compatible with the Sustainability Development Goal, UN Guiding Principle of Business and Human Rights, ILO Convention, OECD Guidelines on Multinational Enterprises, Tax for Climate Rates, Financial Disclosure, CDP Questionnaire, International Integrated Reporting Framework, SAPS Industry Standard, BLAB. So these are the compatibility of GRI. So basically, GRI is trying to become the all-encompassing standard for any reporting. Reporting for SDGs, tools for reporters, analysis of goals, and help company report the comparable and effective ways, including inventory of established disclosure and possible action per target, integrating the SDGs into corporate reporting, a practical guide to how companies can embed SDGs in existing business and reporting standard, addressing investor needs in business reporting, covers investor-related relevant aspect of corporate reporting. It gives recommendation on key parameters useful for investors. Areas of support, GRI provides reporting with service tools, training, network, more. Reporting tools, create top-notch reports that make your sustainable report stand out. Training, learn firsthand from GRI. Report services, take a report to the next level with GRI review services. GRI community, the ultimate GRI experience. So let's go a little bit deep into it, right? Black carbon methodology for logistics sector. Offset of transport sector for transport sector. Another important aspect of sustainability is communication. Like necessity of communication can be found in the anthropology of circumstance, that each consciousness is isolated on neurophological, cognitive, emotional process are mutually unobservable. Basically, communication is very important. The sustainability communication is thus a process of mutual understanding dealing with future development of a society, at the core of which is vision of sustainability. Why do you communicate? Because it's necessary. So we need to communicate regardless, right? We have to report, we have to reach our customers, we have to give them tools, we have to give them metrics. Create awareness of company and products. Sales is also targeted form of communication. What you communicate affects the brand. It creates credibility for the owners and others. Owners, investors need to feel secure in knowing that the company they have stake in, have authorities, may have documentation requirement. It creates productivity among employees. Good communication creates efficiency by ensuring employees have necessary knowledge to do their job well. Creates commitment among the employees, ensure knowledge sharing between breaking down knowledge silos. It facilitates collaboration and suppliers and partners. Good communication and smooth transaction along value chain, whether in FRE, logistic, collaborative partnership, and others. That's why communication is very important. Why do companies communicate about sustainability? Like we just discussed why company communicate, but there's nothing different, right? It's sustainability communication is also about the same thing. Customer want more sustainable products and services. Like customer doesn't want, like, I am buying your washing machine, but it is going to kill me. So is it going to kill me? Like, so that's the factor which people, like, I'm buying this apple, but by the way, this apple is not going to give you diseases. That's what customer want to know, whether this apple is safe to eat, or whether the production of this product will lead to your diseases or not. So those are the factors when, especially most customers who are knowledgeable want to know, like, whether this product is good for them or not. The requirements are varied greatly and are only slowly consolidating. So what customer want to know? Not everybody, like, depends on knowledge of the customers. How much they need, like how do you get this sick? How do they get defective children? So there are a lot of things, which customers want to know. But not everybody is aware about this. Investor want to assure returns. Like, and again, as I told, following sustainability becomes like your company is more robust. It has a clear path of continuous growth and revenue improvement as well expansion, because you have proven sustainability. Like, you are able to make a product with zero thing, right? Zero stuff. Of course, that product will be successful no matter which geographical area or which country you go, because you have a winning formula which can now be replicated in every locality, every district of the world, or it could be made in one place and transmitted. But again, that is not sustainable, because obviously, but again, you could make a sustainable transport as well. Like, you can use transportation such a way that it is least consuming, and then you compensate. Like, you could have a ship which runs from sustainable energy. Yeah, so investors believe sustainability creates greater returns and studies. So long-term investors know that company only survives if they have falling sustainability. If they care about employee, they care about the customers, they care about the environment, they care about the society, they care about the government, they follow the laws, they report correct metrics. There's a difference between investors, often institutional investors looking for long-term gains, where others look for quicker returns. Employees want to know, and they're part of it. Again, younger employees particularly emphasize on purpose of sustainability. And again, like, employees want, are conscious. Like, you could be working in an organization which could be killing you, right? You could be working in a polluted environment. Like, if you're creating pollution, that means you're also working in that pollution environment. If you are destroying the water around you, you're also consuming the same water, dirty water. So that's another thing. Again, employee, if you're good to employee, they will become more productive. Like, and it's more easy to get employee to work on something which helps everybody, because they know that by working on this product, I'm not only helping others, I'm also helping myself. Suppliers, last in the chain, but it's on its way. Sustainability sets requirement for the choice of suppliers, both social and environmental. You could choose suppliers who are good, because at the end, you want a sustainable way of business. You don't want any backlashes. You don't want wrong type of metrics to be reported. New types of collaboration may be necessary. Circularity is an obvious area. Like, everything you can't do. Your suppliers could be zero emission or zero waste. So there are different kind of sustainability communications. Recruitment, ads, and job interviews, internal policy. So in case I break this terminates, right, rejoin the call, okay? If it breaks, like, rejoin in 10 minutes, okay? 10-minute breaks, and we will continue again, okay? Okay, different types of sustainability communications: recruitment, ads, and job. Internal policies and procedure, that's another communication. Employee training and development is another communication. Daily management, another communication. Marketing communication, social media, website, media appearance, banking, investor relationship, reporting, certification, and rating. These are different means of communication, internally, outside, whatever be. Different types of sustainability communications: the website, social media, recruitment, ads, and job interviews, media appearance, banking, marketing communication, investor relationship, daily management, filing, where you deliver the creating value of the company, the icing, this is how you get the customers, certification and rating system.